Hey friends, let's try the Helvetii demo. This is like a Muramasa type roguelike, so the combat is very similar to Muramasa and the Odin Sphere remake. Biggest criticisms of this game so far would be the moveset's quite small, which I hope that will expand later, but it doesn't really seem like that's the case. And also, it doesn't seem like it has much run variety. However, you only get to play through the first level in this demo, so maybe there will be more later. But my concerns with this game after beating it a few times is that uh, it won't be the best roguelike. Now, I wouldn't really say it's a problem unique to this game. The problem with skill-based roguelikes versus ones like Isaac, where you're heavily reliant on what drops, and it's more about your knowledge of, how the items work, how to make a build, what decisions to make and stuff. This is very skill-based. It's very much like Dead Cells and Otherworld Legends, which are also two action roguelikes where you can win with crap gear. The problem is there needs to be a better balance, because otherwise it doesn't really feel like there's much of a point to the game being a roguelike at all. It feels like, so far it feels like it could be a straight action game without the randomly generated stuff, and it probably would have less replayability, but as a roguelike, so far it doesn't really scratch that itch for me. I don't think I would really play this as much, even though the gameplay is decent. So I'm hoping there will be some... I guess these are your persistent unlocks. I'm hoping there will be some more unique stuff, like maybe moves or properties or something. Items. Alright, so you got an S string.
Perfect.
Moveset's kind of like Smash Brothers. If you push like a different direction, you'll get a different attack. Like this character has kind of a teleport slash for down. You've got an S string launcher. You also have a dash attack. You also have a dash attack in the air as well, which also resets your aerial S string, so you want to use that to do combos. And this character has a unique ability. Every character on the Y or triangle button, they have a unique ability, so you do that,
This time.
you parry. Hoping there'll be more moves later on. I've only been playing this for like an hour. I'm kind of already feeling the moveset repetition. It's a common problem. I've tried a lot of demos during the Steam Next Fest. It's definitely a game I'll buy, but I just hope it'll have more moveset variety later.
Up we go. Up we go. Up we go. Yahoo! Up we go.
So this is like the hey, let's try this one. These are like deities that you can summon. It's actually a little bit like Hades, where you pick one of the gods in that game and they have like a specific thing that they focus in. In this game, it actually gives you 2 more moves, so it does partially solve the moveset problem. I'd say the issue with the system right now is that, well, they have a long cooldown, so you're already limited by the mana. I feel like the cooldown is kind of counterproductive. I don't really see what the point of the cooldown is if Don't really see what the point of the cooldown is if you're already limited by your mana. You can't just like mash the button and do it over and over. It's not like Tails. A weird decision.
Oh, no, you don't. Not this time. Go.
Alright, sometimes I get bodied by this boss, so we'll see what happens. Kind of tease you with a boss that gets staggered, and then the second boss in this level is, or in this demo rather, is a standard wall of hyper armor. Not too interesting to fight.
Up we go.
Hopefully they'll have more bosses that stagger in the full game. That was the problem I had with Gunfire Reborn. I don't like first-person shooters at all. I consider them to be like bottom-of-the-barrel entertainment. But that game was fun because it had like a lot of different character archetypes. You know, they had a bunch of melee characters and stuff in that game, so it wasn't just running around and shooting.
Oh, no, you don't. Up we go.
The problem is that game had that ship boss, and the ship boss basically was just no fun allowed. Turned invincible constantly, just was not fun to fight. And I feel like in a roguelike, an annoying gimmick boss like that is worse than in something that's, not designed to be infinitely replayable. Because you're gonna be fighting them all the time, I mean.
Oh, no, you don't.
Annoying bosses is a mainstay in some of the best action games, but
Up we go.
the thing is you can generally avoid it. You only have to fight them like once a playthrough, or if it's a game like Nioh. Nioh has its fair share of crappy gimmick bosses too, you know. You didn't really have to fight them more than the first playthrough.
Up we go.
This run's probably toast, because that was a really crappy room.
Perfect. Ah. Perfect. Not this time. Haha. Slice. Wahoo! Yeah. Up we go. Yeah. Ha. 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 Perfect. Up we go. Ah. Bellissima! Release some.
Alright, GG. You can see that boss is... I hope the rest of the bosses won't be like that. Invincibility phases, hyper armor, not really attacking you, just kind of sitting there. But this game's got potential. I just feel like this demo doesn't really give you a good vertical slice of like what the progression will be like. You know, will there be like itemization and builds and stuff? It's kind of a slippery slope in my opinion, because roguelikes like this do have their appeal, where it's like, you know, you could beat this game the first time. You know, it's unlikely that you would, because, you know, it's a pretty decent responsive action game, so, you know, you're gonna have to learn the attacks of the enemies and how to approach them, which move to use when. The problem with those kinds of games is they get kind of boring sometimes, because it doesn't really have the allure of, you know, sometimes you play a roguelike and you're just like broken, overpowered. I think Otherworld Legends was probably the best action roguelike I played in that regard, where that game really strikes a good balance between, you know, there are overpowered builds and stuff, so the decision making and the luck and your knowledge of the game still matters, but that game is also designed in a way where you could beat it on the hardest difficulty the first time you play it, without any grinding. None of the persistent elements, none of the items unlocked, or any of the other stuff, like just pure skill. I feel like this game is just pure skill, and so far it feels like the roguelike part is just tacked on. I haven't really seen anything in the way of interesting upgrades or builds. The shop doesn't really sell anything interesting. The moveset is quite small as well. I think that's the other thing they need to address. I definitely think they could maybe expand the combat a little bit more. I feel like the moveset you have in this is like what you would expect to be the start, but it might be all you get, which was kind of the problem I had with Lootmancer. Lootmancer did have an unlockable skill tree, but most of the moves and stuff you got in there was stuff you just expected at the start. I think they need to make this more of a roguelike, so more variety. You could still have it be skill-based, but then still have some roguelike stuff to keep it interesting and keep it replayable. The game is very much like a Vanillaware side-scroller, so like Muramasa and the Odin Sphere games. So there's not really a lot of platforming, there's not really a lot of anything else. It's kind of just running around in flat rooms and killing stuff, which I like. I think that's peak level design for an action game, but for a roguelike, I don't really feel like this is going to have much longevity, just because it's too skill-based. There's not really enough decisions to make and stuff, so hopefully they'll iron that and the small moveset out, and I definitely could see myself playing this for a long time. Anyway, the demo is available on Steam right now as part of the Steam Next Fest, so if you're interested, you want to check it out, it's free. It'll only take you about 10 minutes to play through the demo. It's worth a couple tries. Try out the characters, try out the moveset and stuff, and see if you like it. Supposedly the release date is supposed to be this year, and there's only like 2 months left in this year, so it's got to be coming within the next 2.5 months. So when it does come out, I'll probably check this out again. Thanks for watching.